So in case you recently rewatched The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I did, you'll notice that Felicity Jones was in there. She's credited as Felicia Hardy. Naturally, that didn't go anywhere. She found success later on in Star Wars Rogue One as Jyn Erso, but hey, she was recently interviewed and offered a sort of interesting take on Black Cat's future, so let's look at that. Obviously, I think as far as, the Sam Raimi stuff goes, Black Cat has somewhat been tied to various different stages of each movie. Nothing ever materialized. They were going to use Anne Hathaway as Black Cat, but she was going to be like the Vulture's daughter called the Huntress, whatever the hell that was going to be. The Amazing Spider-Man, to some degree, was going to do something more comic faithful, we think, but that's all muddled in other rumors. And of course, recently Sony started developing a Black Cat Silver Sable spin-off that went nowhere and seems like it's dead. Possibly, we don't know. It's Sony. It could literally materialize tomorrow and they're going to start production. But overall, the story of that character is kind of, I guess, in this weird position where nothing really happens. After the huge success of Marvel's Spider-Man, specifically Black Cat being cited as like a breakout character, her finally getting her own solo series for the first time, clearly things are moving forward for her, so hopefully somewhere down the road, right? Felicity Jones recently was in interviews and somebody actually remembered she was in that movie, or even bothered to remember that movie, and asked any development on her, what could happen. She was very coy, first and foremost, saying, she'd love to do it. There was never a chance to do it. But then some other pages are going in and sourcing that she said, she would love to come back if it could be either in a Spider-Man movie or specifically the Venom verse. So there's that. And this is kind of one of those things where you look at it and you kind of have to take a seat back and really kind of assess, I guess, what they could do. First and foremost, if you're looking at her as a Spider-Man character, it can work. But to me, she's kind of like Morbius. You don't need Spider-Man to make the character's initial run work, right? Like, you can do it standalone. You don't need Spider-Man there. Her origin's not directly tied to him, so there is something there. But they clearly pulled it off with Venom, ignoring Spider-Man 100%, and people loved it. So, I don't think the Spider-Man factor matters anymore. But at the same time, I think it's the relationship and the chemistry that those two have that really sells that character. And her kind of talking about it makes me wonder if there's something in the works, or if they're just gonna, go back to people I've been speculating, just be like, yeah, she just continues on as Black Cat. Here's the version, and go with it, right? I don't think people would necessarily reject the idea of continuing the TASM universe, although who's to say it could just be a new iteration of the character and her starring in it? Her, I guess, popularity certainly rose after Rogue One, so you never know what they're going to do. And like I said, it's Sony, so at any moment things could change. But realistically, we know Black Cat is probably happening sooner rather than later. Solo series again, bigger future in the upcoming Spider-Man games. You just gotta look at how the character's been treated in comics. She's gonna be part of the, upcoming, I guess, spin-off film for Spider-Verse, so clearly capitalize on the live action while it's still a hot topic, and that's right there. So in one way it's going to happen, but what universe and where it goes, I guess we'll find out soon.